Sydney is Australia's largest city, chief port and cultural centre.
Recording is started. Please click on stop button for stop recording. Recording is started. Please click on stop button for stop recording. Hello, my name is Pramod and I'm giving this test for my practice. I'm very happy to give this test today. The researchers were surprised that traits often seen as old-fashioned male stereotypes were linked to more positive parenting behaviors, said study lead author Sarah, professor of psychology at the Ohio State University. Results showed, as the researchers had predicted, that men who believed they should have a nurturing father role had higher quality interactions with their child and were better at co-parenting with their partner. While it isn't surprising that infants and children love to look at people's movements and faces, recent research studies exactly where do they look when they see someone using sign language. Many papers you write in college will require you to include quotes from one or more sources. Even if you do not have to do it, integrating a few quotes into your writing can add life and persuasiveness to your arguments. The key is to use quotes to support a point you are trying to make rather than just include them to fill space. Some people object that in order for the eye to modify and still remain a useful instrument to its owner, many changes would have had to take place simultaneously. However, it is not necessary to suppose this if the modifications were extremely slight and gradual. It is difficult to tell whether the speaker approves of Hemingway's lifestyle or not. He was famously macho and spent a lot of time hunting wild animals, going to wars and getting into fights. All these things got into his books, and the speaker thinks that this is not necessarily a good thing, as it means that too many people prefer to read about his life than read his book.
What is important is you know and enjoy what you are doing.
What is important is you know and what you are doing.
Having a clear fitness goal is important for measuring your progress.
Having a clear fitness goal is important for measuring your success.
You might be seeing slow progress on your part, but it is okay.
You might be seeing slow progress in your part, but it is okay.
They live in a fairly modest house, considering their wealth.
They live in fairly moderate house considering the wealth.
Do everything you can do to make exercising more fun and exciting.
Do everything you can do to make exercising more fun and exciting.
Superfoods are a group of foods that contain high amounts of nutrients.
Superfoods are group of foods that contain high amount of nutrients.
Don't drink any alcohol, even if you drive carefully.
Don't drink alcohol even if you drive carefully.
She likes swimming, even in winter.
She likes swimming even in winter.
We can either go to the cinema or to the cafe.
We can either go to the cinema or cafe.
I'm sorry, Peter is ill, and I can't come either.
I'm sorry, Peter ill and I can't come either.
He reads magazines, but he doesn't like to read books.
He read magazine but he doesn't like to read book.
She goes to the tennis club because she likes to play tennis.
She goes to the tennis club because she likes to play tennis. The image gives information about anatomy of the heart. The primary feature are aorta, left ventricle and right ventricle. It also consists of inferior vena cava and aortic valve. Firstly, it shows about superior vena cava and pulmonary valve, which is located at the left side. Furthermore, it gives information about left atrium and pulmonary artery, which is located at the right side. Moreover, it gives information about aortic valve and mitral valve, and also about the left atrium that is located on the right side. Overall, it is informative image. The image gives information about the map of Asia. It consists of Mongolia, China and India. Firstly, it shows about Pakistan and Iran, which is located at the left hand side. Furthermore, it conveys about Malaysia and Sri Lanka, and also about the Indian Ocean that is located at the southern side. In the eastern side, there is Philippines and the East China Sea. Moreover, on the northern side, we can see Sea of Japan and Chinese tiger at the middle of China. In conclusion, it gives information about the Asia with the vegetation. The image gives information about the cafe. Firstly, it shows about the man and woman who are chatting to buy the coffee or some bakery items. Furthermore, it gives information about the buying and selling of the goods, and the girl in the counter is smiling and serving the customer. There are three men and three girls in this picture, and the picture shows about the some shop and they are buying and selling. In conclusion, this picture gives information about the cafe where two people are serving the four customers.
With the advent of the internet, our life has become a lot easier, in every possible aspect. Technology has simplified our lives and increased our productivity. Everything that we can think of in the present world, a possibility is we can do the same thing online, from the comfort of our home. Education is one of the basic rights of mankind. It shapes the personality of a man and equips him with the necessary skills required to earn a livelihood. The internet has made it possible to earn degrees and certificates from the comfort of your home. Based on reports, online marketing degrees and online graduate degrees are most popular among people who study online.
The lecture discusses advent of internet in the life has become easier and the more comfortable. Firstly, the speaker explained about increase our productivity by the use of the internet. He further discussed education is the basic of mankind and which become easier by the help of internet. Moreover, he presented online marketing degree and also about online graduating degree. In conclusion, the lecture focused on advent of internet in the life of the people, and internet increases our productivity, and also about the education which is the basic of the mankind, and about online marketing degree.
Welcome to Yellowstone National Park. Before we begin our nature walk today, I'd like to give you a short history of our National Park Service. The National Park Service began in the late 1800s. A small group of explorers had just completed a month-long exploration of the region that is now Yellowstone. They gathered around a campfire, and after hours of discussion, they decided that they should not claim this land for themselves. They felt it should be accessible to everyone. So they began a campaign to preserve this land for everyone's enjoyment. 2 years later, in the late 19th century, an act of Congress signed by President Ulysses S. Grant proclaimed the Yellowstone region a public park. It was the first national park in the world. After Yellowstone became a public park, many other areas of great scenic importance were set aside, and in 1916 the National Park Service was established to manage these parks. As a park ranger, I am an employee of the National Park Service. In a national park, park rangers are on duty at all times to answer questions and help visitors in any difficulty. Nature walks, guided tours, and campfire talks are offered by specially training staff members. The Park Service also protects the animals and plants within the parks.
The lecture discusses National Park and National Park Services. Firstly, the speaker explained about Yellowstone and campfire, accessible to everyone, and active Congress and the public park. He further discussed first national park in the world. Moreover, he presented National Park Services for the employee, and they help visitors in the visiting the park, and also about training staff members and animals and plants. In conclusion, the lecture focused on National Park and National Park Services for the public park and the National Park Service for the employee.
What's the joint called where your hand is connected to your arm?
Ankle, elbow, knee, ankle, elbow.
What can we call a specialist who repairs leaking water pipes?
Plumber.
What do we call a picture that a doctor takes to see inside your body?
X-ray.
Which department studies the human body part of heart?
Cardiology.
A business doesn't want to make a loss. What does it want to make?
Profit.
A famous canal links the Mediterranean Sea with the Indian Ocean. Is it the Corinth or the Suez Canal?
Suez Canal. Yes, Suez Canal.
Everyone today is quite aware of the non-biodegradable nature of the plastics or polythene bags. People find them very convenient, so they are used in abundance. But everyone should realize the negative impact that they are having on our environment. They are causing havoc to it. It is an essential duty of each and every citizen of the country to make the environment clean and a healthy place to live in. Keeping pace with the prime motive, the foremost duty of everyone is to say no to these bags. Everyone must be made aware of the hazardous ill effects of polythene bags in polluting our environment. The use of these polythene or plastics should be discontinued permanently. Instead of plastic bags, cloth bags, or jute bags should be used. Using paper bags or cardboard boxes, where possible, is the best option. It is a must to save our environment from being contaminated further.
You'll recall that in last week's class I talked about how the sounds made by most animals, though sometimes complex, are different from human language. Only in humans do these sounds represent objects and events. Keep in mind that most animals can only repeat their limited utterances over and over again, while humans can say things that have never been said before. Today I want to focus on human language and how it developed. I doubt you'll be surprised when I say that the evolution of language was slow and laborious. There's some reliable evidence that language began with early humans 1.5 million years ago. Through the study of the size and shape of brain fossils, scientists have determined that early human brains, like modern brains, have a left hemisphere slightly larger than the right hemisphere. We know that in modern humans, the left hemisphere is the seat of language. We also know that early human brains had a well-developed frontal section, known as Broca's area, which coordinates the muscles of the mouth and throat. It's clear then that early humans had a speech apparatus. They could produce any sound that we can. What we don't know is whether early humans used what they had. Since scholars know virtually nothing about prehistoric speech patterns, all they can do is speculate about how language actually originated. Let me give you a brief summary of some of these theories.
To join the library and take books out, you need a membership card. Take your passport or identity card, as well as a proof of your home address, to the information desk and you will be issued with a card. After a period of 2 years, all readers are required to go to the desk with a document that has their name and current address on it, so the library can keep up-to-date records of where people are living. There's no need to show a passport again, and there's no charge for this service, but any lost cards are charged at $5. If you can't find the book you want on the shelves, you can reserve it. If it's in another library in the city, we can usually get it for you within a week. If someone else has borrowed it, it can take a few weeks. Either way, we notify you by phone or email when the item is available to be picked up. We will hold it for you for 5 days. Books can be borrowed for 14 days and can be renewed for a further 2 weeks. Children's books also have a 2-week borrowing period. The same exists for CD-ROMs and CDs, but DVDs, both children's and adults, can only be borrowed for up to 7 days. It isn't possible to renew them. Some reference books can be borrowed, but normally only for 1 day, so 24 hours.
In the US alone, there are 10 million car accidents every year, and the tense moment following a car accident can be scary and stressful for everyone. Simple, avoidable mistakes could cost you time, money, or lead to personal, medical, and legal issues. Some of the most common mistakes to avoid are after a collision, fleeing the scene, leaving the scene of an accident could land you in serious legal trouble. Try to remain calm and wait for law enforcement to arrive on the scene. Not reporting the accident, even if it's just a minor collision. Always report the accident to the police. Never let someone convince you to avoid calling the police. Exchanging too much information. Do not share your driver's license or who was at fault with the other driver. However, share this information with the police along with your current insurance. Failing to get medical advice. You may think that you were lucky enough to escape injury, but you should always get a medical checkup after a car accident, especially if you hit your head.
Mass marketing by Indian retail chains has hitherto been the exception rather than the rule. The lack of significant players with national reach is only one of the factors that explain the relatively low attention given to mass marketing by the retail sector in India. The focused brand image which leads to pithy, punchy advertising has been difficult because most retailers have not been focused in terms of their own vision for their retail brand. Most advertising has tended to focus on the presence of locations or the range. The inherent expectations of a high short-term return on advertising investment that is common to most traders who are attempting to scale up operations is not conducive to a long-term consistency in advertising direction. Advertising then tends to focus significantly on announcement of in-store promotions and events, where the payoffs in terms of immediate increases in customer entry and average cash memo size are more visible.
Let us take a look at the manner in which the traditional bank adds value to the customer. The bank's basic job is risk absorption. It takes money, which has a lot of attached risk, and provides the customer an assured rate of return. Further, as only a small portion of the actual deposit base is retained with the bank in a liquid form, the very survival of the bank lies in building enough trust with its clientele so as to prevent the occurrence of a sizable chunk of simultaneous customer withdrawal, a run on the bank. The ability to retain deposits, in itself, is not enough to ensure long-term survival and growth. The ability to deploy invested funds into productive economic activity at a higher rate of return, hence contributing to the prosperity of both the economy and the institution, is the other loop in the banking cycle.
The U.S. Treasury Department has imposed sanctions on a number of people and entities with connections to Syria's chemical weapons. The sanctions target 5 groups and 8 individuals. The Treasury says they are key components in a network that gets electronics for the agency developing Syria's chemical weapons. The move was in coordination with the French government, which has set renewed freezes on a number of groups and people from the same network. Syria has allegedly used chemical weapons at least 34 times since 2013, but some estimates put that number as high as 85.
Ask any young person what they want to be when they grow up and you most likely will get lofty answers, such as a pro football player or a YouTube star. While admirable, it may be worthwhile to temper these expectations and get kids thinking about a plan B that incorporates their dreams into the real world. Enter Junior Achievement, a non-profit organization that is celebrating its 100th anniversary. Since 1919, YA has made it its mission to prepare youth for future jobs by helping young people understand business and finance so that they are workforce ready. Currently, the YA network reaches approximately 5 million students a year in the United States, and 10 million students in total in more than 100 countries. To understand its current mission, we have to look at the organization's history, which began as the Boys and Girls Bureau of the Eastern States League, founded by AT&T chairman Theodore Vail, Strathmore Paper Company founder Horace Moses, and Massachusetts Senator Murray Crane. Today, YA aims to educate youth with the knowledge and skills to achieve economic success in a variety of ways, whether that means going to college, starting a business, or learning a trade.
If you were one of the 73 million Americans who tuned into the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964 as the Beatles irrevocably changed rock and roll, prepare yourself for perhaps the perfect vacation idea. Did you embrace Beatlemania and never look back? If the answer is an enthusiastic yes, the Sea Tour's Icons of Britain may knock your Paul-loving socks off. While it's not quite all Beatles, all the time, the tour has several other must-sees in London, Scotland, and Wales. One big draw is seeing where the Fab Four got their start and recapturing what's described as the fevered feel of the early 60s in Liverpool. Here's some of what you'll see. The Beatles' boyhood homes. It's easy to imagine the teenaged Paul and John writing the lyrics to I Saw Her standing there in the living room of the future Sir Paul McCartney's humble 24th Lynn Road house. As McCartney recalled, I'd start off with she was just 17, she'd never been a beauty queen. And he'd be like, oh no, that's useless. The Cavern Club. Still a live music venue today, the club hosted the Beatles 292 times. It's especially packed when a tribute band dons mop tops and yeahs their hearts out. There was supposed to be a 293rd time, promised by manager Brian Epstein before the group ventured to America, but it never happened. Jaw-dropping castles. You will glimpse inside the Queen's official residence, Windsor Castle, including recent, and possibly juicy, tidbits from a local tour guide about the goings-on there. Furthermore, a boisterous evening banquet at Cardiff Castle will explain what's meant by Welsh hospitality. The Beatles story. Nestled in the heart of Liverpool's revitalised Wharf District, this state-of-the-art attraction includes a behind-the-scenes look at Abbey Road Studios, an underwater trip on the Yellow Submarine and a Fab 4D extravaganza that uses the latest technology to bring the group's music to life.
It is not often I get the chance to talk about the psychology of pop music, or rather the lyrics and the effect they have on young people. I must say at the outset that I'm not at all sure about the findings of a recent survey I've been studying, conducted over a period of 30 years. In short, it claims that late adolescents and college students are more narcissistic than ever before. This might well be true, and it might also be true that pop lyrics are becoming more self-absorbed, negative, and violent. But this might reflect the psychology of the writers and performers more than their listeners. Also, as the writers of the study are alarmed to discover, this radical increase in narcissism comes with higher levels of loneliness and depression, which, if you think about it for a second, is hardly surprising. Furthermore, they have detected a link with heightened anger and problems maintaining relationships. Now, a couple of points. First, adolescents are pretty much self-absorbed anyway, but it's rarely pathological. Also, you can read almost anything you want into song lyrics from any era. Again, people nowadays find it easier to express themselves emotionally than their counterparts did 30 years ago. Last, the survey suggests a complete personality change over the period covered. Yet I doubt that personality traits can change so much from one generation to another, or for that matter, from one culture to another.
After more than 45 days in lockdown, it's no surprise that many people are going a tad stir-crazy. But it's far worse for seniors. Not only have visits from their kids and grandkids been suspended, but there's the extra stress that comes with the nagging suspicion that they'll be advised to remain on lockdown long after younger people begin trickling back to work and the world starts opening up again. In fact, the AARP Foundation has even come up with this dire comparison: prolonged social isolation, for those aged 50 and older, is the health equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Fortuitously, some of the niftiest technology offers solutions both to keep us connected and protect against some of the miscreants taking advantage of the situation.
Per capita water usage has been on an upward trend for many years. In rich countries, water consumption has gradually been slowed down by price increases and the use of modern technology and recycling. In the USA, industrial production has risen fourfold since 1950, while water consumption has fallen by more than a third. Japan and Germany have similarly improved their use of water in manufacturing processes. Japanese industry, for example, now recycles more than 75% of processed water. However,
after more than 45 days in lockdown, it's no surprise that many people are going a tad stir-crazy. But it's far worse for seniors. Not only have visits from their kids and grandkids been suspended, but there's the extra stress that comes with the nagging suspicion that they'll be advised to remain on lockdown long after younger people begin trickling back to work and the world starts opening up.
France, officially French Republic, French France or République Française, country of northwestern Europe. Historically and culturally among the most important nations in the Western world, France has also played a very significant role in international affairs, with former colonies in every corner of the world. Bounded by the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, the Alps and the Pyrenees, France has long provided a geographic, economic, and linguistic bridge joining Eastern and Western Europe. It is Europe's most important agricultural producer and one of the world's dominating industrial powers.
The first thing I want to argue is that the former civilization is running in pretty profound crisis and its relationship to the progressive nature, which we do and what we have depended on for survival and flourishing. And this is the most widely and well recognized in relation to climate change, CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. But I want to argue the certain dangers in the way that has been presented as the central question that we have to address. Because it's interlocked with a number of other crises, that is most noticeably as the crisis in access to fresh water, crisis in access to food, biodiversity loss on a huge scale, and associated problems of human inequality, not just in the common world, but actually in the kinds of environmental resources and pleasures that I can enjoy. So, all those together have to be looked at an interconnected set of really deep, profound crises.
Many managers find the employees' performance column is decreasing.